Hello, TJ Bellotti here again. Thanks for stopping back. I have one more question that a friend of mine asked another individual that started another company, and it was this. How do I know when to quit my day job, and what does my startup look like? How should I launch? So let me give this as an answer. I wouldn't be able to tell anybody when the right day is to break away from the working for another company and going out on your own specifically. But there's a couple different scenarios that we have to cover. So let's see if I can do that in a succinct manner. If you are a husband and wife, and the husband has a job and the wife has a job, but the wife is considering rolling out on her own as a startup, as a small business startup, and the husband's going to continue working where he works, that kind of helps things a lot. I mean, the husband might have benefits. The husband might earn enough money to cover the basic bills that the family has, so that as the wife starts her business, there's not as much pressure to earn money quickly so that you can cover the bills that you have. If you're a single person and you don't have a house or you don't have kids to worry about, it makes it a lot easier. When I started the business that I have, I was single. I rented an apartment. I didn't have many worries at all. In fact, I bartended when I started my business until I was too tired to bartend and run my business, to be honest with you. And that's probably what it looks like for most adults, too. And when I say adult, I mean maybe a husband and wife or a parent with a couple kids. You got to really wring out your ability to earn in two different places. And once you wring that out and you're pretty stretched thin and you can't do either one well, that's when it's time to break away. Unless you have some money set aside. If you have some money set aside and you've been planning for this for a year or two, and you have 6, 8, 12 months worth of bills, money to pay bills set aside, you're good to go for 6, 8, 12 months before you really have to start completely relying on your new income. Now, if you are the primary earner for a family, and whether it's through displacement from a job or it's just time to head out on your own, if you have some experience in the industry you're moving into, and you already have a bit of a client base, then it's going to make it a little bit easier to head on out on your own. But either way, whether it's a crisis situation, you've lost your job and you have no choice and this is what you're going to do, or if it is a situation where you've been planning for it and it's time to make that leap, you still want to start slow. You don't want to spend your reserve money on an employee because it sounds good that I own a business and I have an employee. With employees comes other issues. With employees comes the responsibility of payroll and payroll taxes, which means now you definitely need an accountant to take care of your payroll for you. You have to worry about the legal side of it. What happens if the employee calls off? Can I write them up? If I write them up once, can I terminate them? How do I terminate them? What if they steal from me? What if they steal from a client? There's 100 scenarios that you really don't want to put that pressure on yourself at the beginning. At the beginning, you want to learn how to do the job you're doing. For my brother and I, we took years to learn all the different aspects of our company. We could run and start a cleaning company anywhere in the United States in about 6 minutes. But that's just because we spent so much time at the beginning being the only people working. So my suggestion is always start out conservatively. And again, there's startups that are looking for venture capital of millions of dollars that they're going to start out with an office and computer banks and all the other stuff. That's fine. That's a different type of animal. That's not who I'm talking to. Who I'm talking to is the person who wants to have a small company, wants to work for themselves. They want 2 or 3 employees. They want to start something that they can pass on to their kids, or a husband and wife that wants to start a catering company. They don't have grand dreams of opening up a restaurant in 6 months and open up a second restaurant in a year and franchising and the whole large-scale concept, because that's a very difficult road to go down. I'm talking to the people that want to start their own company. They want to sit in their home office in their slippers and develop websites, and they want to do social media for companies on their phone while they're sitting and having coffee in Starbucks. That's awesome. You can do that. But you don't need to start out the race at 60 miles an hour. Start out at 10. Ease into it. See what it is to have a client. And once you get a client, build a relationship with that client. I've said it in a couple other videos, and I tell my brother and I talk about it all the time, and I tell my employees all the time, I would rather be very broad and deep with my clients. I would rather them immediately think of us for any need that they have in the industry that we work in, instead of wondering, well, who can I call to do this? They already know that we do it because we have a relationship with them. Your first client, they should know you inside out. You should know them inside out. Now, I don't mean that you should be like the cable guy, the movie, not the actual cable guy that comes to your house, and knocking on the door at 9 o'clock at night and seeing what they're doing. I don't mean that. What I mean is you should really understand their need and how you can fix that need and how much they're willing to pay for that need and who they might know that also has that need, because that's how you build a client base. Whenever I said I'd rather be wide, I meant a very wide client base. That's what you want. You don't want 3 or 4 very big clients, and if you lose 1 or 2 of them, you're out of the business anyway. So my advice again is you'll know it's either time to go out on your own because you're either forced out on your own or because you're so strong, so tired and so wrung out from trying to work 2 jobs that you have no choice but to go out on your own. And as far as what it looks like when you launch slowly, launch methodically, launch with intent and with some systems in place. If you follow some of the systems that we've talked about, and I'm going to talk about a little bit more, of doing the same thing every day, doing the same thing every week, you really start to slowly see yourself taking baby steps forward. And once you start taking baby steps forward and you get better and better and better and better, that's when you start picking up speed and you build a business over time that is very solid. So I can't answer your question as far as what does it exactly look like, and I can't answer your question when to go out there. But I can tell you that you should not be planning on quitting your job before you even have a client. You should not be planning on a date where you say, I'm starting my business on January 1st. On June 7th, I quit my real job. Because you don't know what things will look like on June 7th. Excuse me. So, plan for the best you can. Get out there and start working. And you'll feel when things start to get to be too much or when things need to shift. If you have any more questions, please throw them in the comments down below. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great afternoon.